Welcome back to the Sure Sales Group Show, episode 60, and today I'm with a mortgage legend, the most experienced lender we've had the privilege of doing business with. Here on the show, we talk about real estate, sales, negotiation, marketing, entrepreneurship, buying, selling, renting, investing, and what it's taken us to grow from 2 employees to 20, from 30 million in sales to 130 million in sales in the last few years. Thanks for watching. Brian, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Andrew.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You know, the first question before we dive into it, I always like to ask is, tell everyone a little bit about yourself so we can get to know you a bit better.
Sure. I'm from Baltimore, lived in Baltimore. I've currently reside in Baltimore City and have been a resident of Baltimore City for 25 years. Grew up locally, played basketball, as you probably can tell.
Brian can still dunk.
Yeah, that's not accurate, but we'll go with that. And the other thing is I've been in the mortgage industry for a little bit over 30 years, so a long time. Seen all kinds of markets, all kind of interest rate environments, and hot markets and maybe some softer markets. So it's something I really thoroughly enjoy. I love working with my clients and maintaining relationships over a long period of time.
Yeah, awesome. I got introduced to Brian. He was extremely highly referred by my parents, who I know have my back. And when I bought my first house in 2010, I believe it was, I met Brian. He pulled up to my dumpy rental in Federal Hill in a beautiful Audi A8 white. I'm not sure if you have that anymore. And the process was so smooth and easy, and we've had a relationship ever since. So I think it's unique perspective you offer our clients and me and our sales team, because you've been around, you've seen 30 years worth of mortgages, you've owned your own mortgage company, you've dealt with banks, you've dealt with brokers. What's your vibe on what's going on in today's environment?
We're in, right now, a rising rate environment. Now, they haven't shot up, but they're gradually going up. And the Federal Reserve has increased rates in 2018. They're expected to increase short-term rates again in December, but kind of the jury's out on that. But they may do that, and then also in 2019, possibly 3 times.
3 more rates?
3 more rate increases to short-term rates. Now, I don't want to get too technical, but that doesn't always translate into higher fixed-rate mortgage rates.
Right.
But we are in an increasing rate environment. Sometimes that leads to contracts, real estate contracts dipping. And we've seen that. The latest numbers have shown sales are down, mortgage applications are down, both with purchases and refinancing, but a little bit, not anything to be concerned about. We're also coming into the holiday season, so typically, it slows down a little bit there. But I also find that, especially in the county area, when a competitive house comes on the market, it's going for full price, and it generally has multiple contracts on it. So people who want to finesse it and maybe try and go in under list price, oftentimes they're losing out on the purchase.
Right. I know we've had a couple deals in the county where you're assisting our clients, and I always CC Brian on my offer to the seller just to make sure, hey, this is buttoned up, they're pre-approved, here's all the terms of the offer. And 2 different times, the listing agent has said, I'm so glad to see Brian Shannon's name on this.
Well, that's great.
Because well, you've been doing it for 30 years. I'm 30 years old. So you've met a lot of these agents, and you've done great work for such a long time. Your reputation speaks for itself. So you're with Prime Lending, great mortgage company. You owned your own business for decades and crushed it. Why did you decide to go with Prime Lending?
Well, Prime's a wonderful bank. It's a national mortgage lender. I knew some of the key players at Prime Lending. I'd known them for 20 years. I trusted them. And Prime Lending has all the products. We have all the back office support. Made my life easier, actually, with all the regulation coming out of Washington, D.C. It got to be very difficult to do what I like to do best, which is meet people and talk about mortgage products. Right. So Prime, like I said, I knew some of the people there. I felt very comfortable. And they had all the products that fit right in what I do best. So it was an easy transition, and it's freed me up to go out and actually see people and be more of a consultant rather than trying to deal with all the regulation out of Washington, D.C.
Yeah, one of the things I really like about working with you and Prime is you're always available. And I always kind of harp on my buyers when we're out looking, you need to have a mortgage banker who's going to answer your call, respond to your email within a timely fashion, so you know exactly, hey, what's my cash out of pocket and monthly payment look like on this property, on this specific property, on this specific tax assessment with today's rates. So I know you have competitive rates and you're very responsive. Talk to me a little bit about some of these unique products you have, because when we were meeting earlier this week, you shared a couple things that are new that I've never even seen in the marketplace, like the 15-year ARM was a big one.
Exactly. So I don't want to get too technical, but Fannie Mae, which is the Federal National Mortgage Association, they're the largest lender. When people get mortgages, it generally ends up there. Fannie Mae, these are their statistics, that 90% of all mortgages are paid off within 7 years. And that may surprise a lot of people. That doesn't mean it's paid down to zero, but people move and people also refinance. And those that are fortunate enough do pay it down to zero. But if 90% of all loans are paid off in 7 years, why do people automatically go towards a 30-year fixed?
Right.
So this is what I try to do with people, is find out what their goals and objectives are and see if there's a better product out there. So there is, in my opinion, a wonderful product that works for a lot of people. Think about where you were 15 years ago. I know where you were 15 years ago. But even think about where you were 10 years ago, 5 years ago. So if you could get a 15-year adjustable rate mortgage that stays fixed for 15 years and still has a 30-year payment associated with it, and the rate is considerably less, like 0.75% less than a 30-year fixed, you have annual savings that can, maybe pay for your monthly phone bill, maybe pay for your monthly homeowner's insurance.
Right.
And after a year, you buy a new flat screen TV, and after 10 years, maybe it's enough to purchase a car. So these are some things that you want to think about. If I'm not going to be in this house for 10, 15 years, why am I taking a 30-year mortgage with a higher mortgage payment?
Right. And you helped me personally with this. I still remember back in 2010, I didn't even know what a mortgage was, but my parents were like, you got to talk to Brian Shannon. He'll take care of you and he'll guide you through the right process. And you actually hooked me up with an ARM. It was a 7-year ARM, but it saved me. I took a much lower interest rate for the first 7 years, and it saved me a lot of money. So you seem to always take that consultative approach, which I think is refreshing. It's not like, oh yeah, here's your pre-approval, you're good, 30-year fixed, 5%. It's, hey, let's pull this apart. What's your goal for the house? How long do you think you'll be here? And let's look at all these products. Brian's a guy who's always willing to take the phone call. And what I've done personally, and I encourage my clients to do it, I can't make them do it, you can do whatever you want. But what I recommend is, regardless of who you're getting your mortgage with or who you've talked to, Brian's always willing to be a second set of eyes to say, hey, have you considered this? Did you know if you went with a 15-year ARM, your monthly payment will go down $200 a month, guaranteed for 15 years? So we really appreciate that. And I know everyone here at the Sure Sales Group kind of looks to you as, hey, here's a guy who's seen it all, he does it all, and you've been in the business for so long that you can give some good advice and perspective. So I just want to say, take it from me, and he's a guy you might want to consider to look at your stuff. One other program I want you to hit on. This one's crazy. Talk about the no money down program, because normally that's only for VA people and some special physician loans. People can buy a house with $0.
This applies to everybody. So as long as your credit is good, doesn't have to be awesome, but good, you can buy a house with 0% down now, no money down. Now those products were around, if you remember, in 2006 and 7, and the mortgage meltdown happened and lending really tightened up. Right. But this is maybe for a couple who both have good income, but maybe because of student loans, they don't have a whole lot of savings to apply towards a house. Well, they can put 0% down. They also can get seller help in paying for their closing costs. So you can get into a home with very little money, and that's a great benefit to have, especially, like I said, with people who can afford the payment, but they might not have the $20,000 or $30,000 it takes to purchase a home. So they can buy a home, they can build up equity, they can get appreciation. All these things come into play now with the 0% down. And it applies to everyone. You don't have to be a veteran, you don't have to be a physician. There's no income limits like some other programs have, so you can buy anywhere, and it's a wonderful product. So it opens up more doors for people to get into a home.
No pun intended.
Yes.
It opens up more doors. what I know people will think is, oh my God, 100% financing, that's so unsafe. And what I always combat that with is, hey, look at all your options, but if you're buying a $300,000 home and you can keep all your money in your pocket, even if you have savings, you can still go with this program. Hey, I'll keep all my money in my pocket and I'll take the $2,000 a month mortgage payment instead of putting $20K down, and instead of having $2,000 now, it's $1,950. Right. So it's like the monthly, when you stretch these numbers out over 30 years at a low interest rate, because technically, I guess we're still in a low rate environment.
Historically, we're in a low rate environment.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So my other question for you is, what do you see agents doing with their clients? You're interacting with so many of them in the county, in the city. Where are people making mistakes? And what would you give advice to someone who's thinking, hey, maybe I should start thinking about a mortgage in 2019?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question, because what I tell people is the earlier you start talking to a lender, the better off you're going to be. Because I meet with people all the time who maybe they want to buy in 90 days, maybe they want to buy in 180 days. And when we go through that consultation, I can advise them on what they need to be doing.
Right.
And a lot of times we'll run their credit report, and I'm saying, here's how you can increase your credit score by 10 or 15 points, which will get you a lower rate. And if they wait until they start looking for a home and write a contract in 30 days, it could be too late. So get pre-qualified, talk to somebody, find out, can I afford a house? How much can I afford? How do I improve my credit? Should I pay this credit card off? Can I go out and buy a car? Mm-hmm. All those type of questions really come into play, and you don't want to do something that would be foolish and say, oh, I didn't know. So if you're looking to buy in the next 6 months, a year, it never hurts to talk to somebody and get advice.
You know, they say ignorance is not an excuse. You saying, oh, I didn't know about that, well, that's your fault. And another compliment I'd like to pay you is I've put so much stuff in front of you. And Brian, you're such an honest guy. You say, hey, that's a good deal. You should take that, even if it's not with Prime Lending for whatever reason. Because there's a million products and everyone's in a different scenario. So,
and if you're honest, it comes back to you.
Yeah, and that's why you're here today. Yeah. We only work with a handful of mortgage people. And, you know, mortgage lenders' jobs are kind of to target agents to say, hey, you know, give me an opportunity. And we get that all the time. And we like to keep that circle small and only deal with the top brass. So you're definitely in that group. Where do people get a hold of you if you're a real estate agent, if you're a buyer, if you're someone in the industry? How do you get a hold of Brian Shannon, and what types of meetings do you like to take with agents, buyers, builders, whatever?
Well, I'll give out my cell phone number. That's the best way to contact me, which is 410-419-7069. And a lot of times I can do things by phone. You know, I have a secure website that sensitive information can be uploaded to. Mm-hmm. But I also enjoy meeting with people. Baltimore's a small town. I like the dialogue that goes back and forth. You can't really communicate in text or email, because buying a house can be a very involved process. And so I do like to verbally communicate with people. But I'm open. My office is in Timonium. I also live downtown. So I meet people everywhere. And I'd be glad to sit down with anybody.
Awesome. Well, Brian lives in one of the best units in Spinnaker Bay, and he's a good guy to meet. Kind of just friendly, warm, low-key, has good jokes, appropriate and inappropriate, which is important. And, well, I appreciate you coming on the show. We'll throw all your information up on the screen, and I really appreciate you being here. Hey, Brian, this is episode 60. I can't let you leave without giving us a final thought. Give us a little oh, by the way.
Sure, Andrew. Oh, by the way, when I look at a mortgage transaction, I'm not looking at 30 or 45 or 60 days. I'm looking at 5, 10, 15 years. And because I've been doing this for as long as I have, I've put some of my clients in a position to literally save tens of thousands of dollars over the life of their mortgage. So I'm not just a loan originator. I see myself as more of a mortgage consultant. And with that comes staying in contact and in touch with my clients over the years, which I do. I try to do an evaluation every year to make sure where they are financially and also what their future goals are. So I see this as a career, not just as, hey, thank you very much for 45 days. I look at it that I can put you in a position possibly to save a lot of money over the life of many mortgages. The average person has 5 to 7 mortgages in their lifetime. That's probably something else that a lot of people weren't aware of. So that's my take on it. That's how I try to conduct my mortgage practice, and I hope to hear from you.
Thanks so much, Brian. You're the man.
You're welcome, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.